Oops, you're still muted. Oops, we're going to unmute.
Lily.
So here's my question. Do I really have to redraw the ox on red paper?
You don't really have to, but it will make it more lucky if you do, because red is really that lucky color for Lunar New Year. So no, you don't have to, but if you want to make it super lucky, which I think we could all use some luck this year, I would redraw it on red paper.
On second thought, I might also design in a xiangsam for you.
Oh, awesome. In fact, what would make it super lucky is if you drew it on red paper and you drew it with gold, because that would be really lucky. Red and gold are super lucky.
It's going to be it's going to be a fashion sketch, so I'm going to draw it on white paper and I'm going to color some of the areas red.
Oh, that would be great too.
I'm also going to give you some red roots in your hair.
Oh, cool. I've always kind of wanted to have some red roots in my hair, but I've always been a little bit intimidated to do that. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to the second screen. Does anybody there have your hand up? Okay, I don't see anyone, so we'll just go back to the front. And then we'll go to the third screen. Okay, nobody there, so we're going to go back to the front screen where I see lots of people with hands up. Let's go to Owen Tiffany. Did I say that name right? Where's Owen? Or did they disappear?
I think the hand went down. Oh, if you have a question, you can raise your hand again.
Okay, so why don't we go to Alexandra? You have to unmute yourself, Alexandra.
I don't see Alexandra.
Okay, go. I think I can ask her to unmute. Oops. I think you're unmuted now, Alexandra. Do you have your question?
Oh, there she is.
What's your question?
What did you draw this book? Did you draw this book with the person who wrote this book together and you saw each other?
Oh, so that is a book called The Seven Chinese Sisters, and I drew the pictures, but I did not write the story. So I was only the illustrator for that book. Now, did I meet the person that wrote that book? Actually, I did not. What happened for that book was the publisher called me up and said, we have this story called The Seven Chinese Sisters. Would you like to illustrate it? And I said, I don't know, send it to me. And they sent it to me and I read it and I said, okay, I think I will illustrate it. It's a really fun story. And then I did the pictures. So I never really got to meet the person who wrote that book. All right, let's see. Does Max T, you have a hand signal on. Did you really have a question you want to ask? Max T, or is it just the hand signal that you're putting up for fun?
If they said the mouse won, every other animal still got a year. Did the mouse have like a special year, or?
He was the first year. So the rat was the first year because he was the winner of the race. But the Jade Emperor said that there'd be 12 animal years. So the rat was the first one. He really wanted to be the first. So he's just the first in the 12-year cycle, which is kind of something, gives him good bragging rights, I guess. So if you are born in the year of the rat, they say that you are like the rat. You are very ambitious. You have big dreams, because remember, the rat had big dreams and he was a small animal. There was no way he should have been an honored animal. There's no way he could have crossed that river, but he really wanted to be an honored animal and he really wanted to be number one. So they say if you're born in the year of the rat, you're very ambitious and you're very shrewd and clever. You know how to make those dreams come true. But they say if you're born in the year of the rat, you have to be careful that you aren't too selfish. You can be selfish if you're the year of the rat. Because remember, the rat was so busy thinking about how to be number one and how to win this race that he completely forgot about his friend the cat, and now he has an enemy for life. So that's what they say about the rat. You have every animal has their good point and their bad point. And the good point of the rat is that they're very ambitious and they're very shrewd and clever. They know how to make their dreams come true and their goals happen, but they can be a little selfish. So you have to watch out for your bad point too. All right, let's see. Audrey Shen.
What got you inspired into starting to write and draw?
So what got me inspired to write and draw? So the truth is, I always loved books. Even when I was really young, I really loved books. And I remember whenever there was a school assignment, I always made books. I remember in 5th grade, we were studying about the Vikings, and my friend made a Viking hat, and my other friend made a Viking ship, and I made a book about the Vikings because I thought making books was so much fun. But I have to admit, even though I made books for fun, I never thought about making books as a job, like being an author or like a career until the summer after 6th grade. And after the summer of 6th grade, there was this big book contest where you wrote and illustrated your own book and you send it into this big book contest. And if you won first place, they'd actually publish your book. And a teacher told me about this. My 6th grade teacher told me about this. And she said, I think you should enter. You're always making books. And I said, okay. So I spent my summer making the book and I sent it in. And I did not win first place, so my book was not published, but I did win 4th place. I didn't win 2nd place, I didn't win 3rd place, but I won 4th place. And with 4th place, there was still a cash prize. And I won, with 4th place, I won $1,000. And after I won $1,000 for 4th place, I was so excited. And then I realized, oh, you can make money making books. And that's when I realized I wanted to be an author for a job, and I wanted that to be what I did for a living. So that's when I decided I wanted to be an author. Okay, let's see. I'm going to say your name wrong. I am so sorry. I think it's Dia Punjwani, and please correct me.
Yeah, you got it right. I want to know what your first published book was.
What was my first published book? My very first published book.
I know what your first book was.
Wait, my first book or my first published book? I'll tell you both. My first published book was a book called The Ugly Vegetables, and it's a story about me and my mom. Oh, here I have it here. It's a story about me and my mom and how she used to grow Chinese vegetables in her garden while everybody else in the neighborhood would grow flowers. And I was really embarrassed by that. So this was my very first published book. And this book was published in 1999. So it's been a long time. Now, but the first book I ever made is this book right here. This book I think I made in 6th grade. This is not the book I entered into the contest, but this is the very first book I ever made, or at least this is the first book I made that I've kept. And you can see that it's very different from this one, but it was not published. All right, let's see who has another question. Let's do Oscar Shao. I think I called on you before, right? But you didn't have your question. Do you have your question now? Or
yes. Wait, you did?
Oh, maybe no. I got you mixed up with somebody else. I'm sorry. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. Wait, what was your favorite book that you published?
What is my favorite book that I've published? Okay, I'll tell you. My favorite book that I've published is this one, A Big Mooncake for Little Star. And the reason why this is my favorite is because Little Star is based on my daughter. So Little Star is my daughter. I took photos of her, and I used those photos as reference for the book, and she posed for me. So all these pictures of Little Star are really what she looks like. So I have to say that this book is my favorite. If I don't say this book is my favorite, my daughter gets really mad at me and she'll be like, hey, how can you not say Little Star is your favorite? So A Big Mooncake for Little Star is my favorite book that I've ever made. But the book that I am proudest of making is this book right here. This book is called When the Sea Turned to Silver. And it's kind of, not exactly, but it's kind of a sequel to this book, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. And the reason why I'm so proud of this book is because this book took me 6 years to write and illustrate. It took me so long to make, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish it or not. And when I did finish it, I was so proud of myself. So this is why this book I'm the most proud of. All right, I think we have time for I think we have time for three more questions. Okay, let's see. Let's do Mingshen. Did I say that right? Tell me how I should say it.
That's right.
Okay, good. Did you have a question?
What's your zodiac animal?
What's my zodiac animal? I was born in the year of the tiger. So when you're born in the year of the tiger, it means that you are very independent. You are very you're very independent, and you don't really ask for help. And it also means that you are not a very good planner. So it means you make a lot of decisions based on what you feel, and you kind of are very spontaneous, which can be good sometimes, but can also be kind of bad. But you're also very brave. You're brave and independent when you're a tiger, which are good things. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to screen 2 for a second, just in case there's somebody I missed over there. But I think that everybody's on screen 1. I think that's how Zoom works. Okay, so I don't have to go to screen 2. So let's go to Liam McGovern.
How many books have you published?
How many books have I published? So I have probably published about 30 books. So you can see the books are behind me. I have so many books that I've published, but even though I have 30 books, which seems like a lot, I have probably written like 200 books. There's at least 170 books that are like this that are sitting in my drawer. So there's a lot of books that I write that are not published. All right, let's see. Anybody else? Let's do Max T. Did he disappear? Okay, Max T, I think, disappeared.
I think Lillian had her hands up for a long time.
Okay, Lillian, go ahead.
Why do you like to write?
Oh, that is a good question. And that actually reminds me, I wanted to tell you, if you had a question that you want to ask and you don't get to ask it today, or if you had a question and you want to ask and you're too embarrassed to ask in front of all these people, I'd like to point you to my podcast called Kids Ask Authors. A podcast is kind of like a radio show that's on the computer, that's on the internet. And on this podcast, a guest author and I answer one kid question a week. So every week we answer one kid question. It could be me and Mo Willems asking like, where do you get your ideas? Or me and Jacqueline Woodson. So we're always answering one kid question. So if you have a question that you wanted to ask today and I didn't get to answer it, you can go to my podcast, Kids Ask Authors, and you can see if I answered it there, and you can listen to my answer there. But if for some reason I didn't answer it yet, you can submit your question into the podcast and I can answer it on the podcast. All right, so let's go back to Lillian's question. And I think your question was, after that big long spiel, I think your question was, why do I like to write? Or what, was that correct? Why do I like to write? Well, that is in some ways an easy answer and also a hard answer, because there's so many different reasons why I like to write. But I think the biggest reason why I like to write is because I love to share stories with kids like you. That makes me so happy. Like to be here tonight and to share stories with you, that makes me feel really happy. And it makes me feel like I have a really good meaning to my life, that I can share these stories with you. And that's the best part of making a book to me too, is the fact that these books are read and my stories are shared. So that's what really gets me to write. There's a lot of other little reasons that I like to write, but that I think is the biggest. All right, well, I think that's about all the time that we have today with tonight. I hope you guys all have a wonderful and lucky Lunar New Year. I thought to end my presentation, we could end it with the Chinese word for goodbye. Some of you probably already know this word, but if you don't, the Chinese word for goodbye is 再见. Can I say that? Very good. I can see all your mouths moving, even though everybody's muted. So on the count of 3, let's say 再见 all together, and I'll say goodbye. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 再见. Bye bye. Bye.
再见.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. Dr. Chowsky, thank you so much for your suggestions and your contributions, and for all your enrichment students who came tonight and joined us. So thank you so much for making this a special evening.
Thank you, Dr. Hale. That's so exciting. Ms. Lynn, we love you so much. Thank you so much. And I just want to encourage everyone, go out there and write. I want to see the young authors. So thank you again.